Today on Switch to Linux, is Microsoft starting to recognize that banning every account for no real reason and then sending you through AI hell may actually be bad for the bottom line. We'll go ahead and have a look at this fascinating article. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. If you like this type of content, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. Leave us a like and a comment down below. We are going to be talking about this article from Windows Central, and this actually is titled with Xbox, but it actually deals with your Microsoft accounts if you read through the text. And this was interesting because, of course, Microsoft is trying to work really hard to make sure absolutely every single computer cannot even be set up without a Microsoft account. And then it seems to be the current modus operandi is AI can flag your account as something weird and ban the whole thing, and then you're trying to go through support trying to figure out how to get a human to get your account back, and their general advice from their AI bot is just create a new account. You know, and all that stuff you have in there is just simply lost, which is great for their bottom line because, you know, you might really want to pay for all those video games and DLCs and all sorts of other things again. But this is actually starting to cause a problem for them because a few high-profile people recently ran into this, and to their point, those people's point, they are kind of leading the charge at this because, to what they said on X, it should not take a video going viral for Microsoft to start actually investigating things with real people. But we see this all over the place. We see it all over here in YouTube, where videos are demonetized, entire channels are demonetized. It's all done with AI, and you submit your appeal, and you know, it could be like a 2-hour video and you submit your appeal, and 35 seconds later, it's like, yep, we watched the whole video and it violates it. How does this violate? It's just somewhere in the 2.5-hour video. Trust us, bro. And that really is their case. In fact, right before I turned the camera on here, a travel YouTuber over in the EU won a case against YouTube, which required them to monetize his channel and pay all of the legal fees. Now, will they actually do it? Well, he's back to tweeting at Team YouTube with copies of the PDF files of his winning court case to see. I don't know, you know. But Microsoft has the same problem. Of course, it's much more egregious when most of the world is still unfortunately using Windows computers, and you cannot even use a Windows computer now without a Microsoft account. And theirs seems to be even harder because at least political pressure on viral videos and tweets can actually get a human at YouTube to actually respond. Nobody's yet found a way to get that to happen on Microsoft until just this article came out. So let's have a look at some of the elements here, and I'll have a lot of commentary about this. And honestly, a lot of the challenges people have is like, I lost all these photos, lost all these contents, all this. Yeah, this was kind of your fault for relying on Microsoft for that account always being there. But anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead and dig in a little bit deeper here. So this author here, who's the author of this one up here, Jez Corden, has been investigating this for years, dealing specifically with Xbox support services. Of course, Xbox owned by Microsoft. So one of the personal nightmares as a heavy Microsoft ecosystem user is the prospect of somehow losing my account. Decades of memory stored on OneDrive, important and crucial documents for everything related to taxes and medical services, thousands of dollars invested in Xbox games, movies, TV shows, and an archive of projects and artwork I built up since I was literally a child, all stored for a hefty annual Microsoft fee. So let's go ahead and break that paragraph down first. The first problem you have here, and I'm going to, Jez, is please, for the love of God, Jez, have a better backup solution than relying on a Microsoft account, okay? while you still have your account, go out to the store and buy a hard drive. And I know those are getting expensive. What's funny is on my geek wall back here, my NAS is currently, I think it's one of the Samsung T7 SSDs, and I bought that for like $150. That same drive right now is like $400. Thank you, data centers. Yeah, we got serious problems. But nevertheless, for $400 in a one-time, you can actually do it for less, by the way. You can do it for a lot less. I bought a 4 or 8 terabyte spinning Rust hard drive for cold storage. Cost me $150 at Micro Center when I went and visited some of our channel supporters down in Dallas. That was awesome. So with that general idea, go, please, you're stressing me out now. Go get some hard drives, download all that data, and have off-site backups. Even with ready access to a home office here, where we're at now, I still have off-site backups. I have a safe with a Faraday bag with backups of everything for anything older than 6 months or 3 months. I think is the last time I did backups out there. They're all locked in a safe in a different county. If I have a serious catastrophic event, a giant meteor lands on my new office and decimates it all, and somehow I still survive. I was out at the store getting milk and eggs or something. I can just drive on down an hour away and pick up some off-site backups, and I've lost only a few months of data. So, Jez, please get some backup drives and stop relying on Microsoft. Now, what I can't help you with is that you have invested thousands of dollars in Xbox games. You are the one, unfortunately, that chose to buy DRM-protected games from a vendor lock-in site. I can't help you with that, but at least all of your photos, your memories, all that kind of stuff is not beholden to Microsoft. As far as movies and TV shows and things like that, yeah, you can do that without relying on the Microsoft account as well. I mean, in fact, if they're in your Microsoft account, they might very well just pull them out of there. Like they're either going to accuse you of piracy, or they're going to be like, "Yeah, we don't have a licensing term with these people anymore. You've just lost 450 movies." Just ask the people at Sony. That's all right. It's fine. We know you bought it. Bought, not rented, bought. But, you don't need that. You don't need that anymore. The license expired. Oh, are we going to let you download it? No. Keep it in your device? No. We're just going to pull it out. Why are you relying on Microsoft for this? They say they were increasingly reminded if it's in Microsoft's cloud, you quite literally don't own it. Correct, which is why I'm encouraging you to go out and buy some hard drives and have copies of all this stuff. Everything you can put on a copy, you can put on a hard drive. All right, but Microsoft, for any reason, can strip you of access to your account per the terms of service. Yes. What's worse, Microsoft's own policies seem to suggest it will not help you either. This is a friend of mine experienced this on his Xbox, he's about the least controversial guy in the world. He lost access to his account. He's like, what do you do? He's like, I'm just creating a new one and buying the stuff I need to buy again. But regulators and national laws have nowhere near caught up on this stuff. It's become a huge problem. Yeah, we need to have laws that allows a person, even if your account is banned and you can't use it anymore, we have to have laws requiring these companies to provide us a means to download all of our available data. We've got to have that. Without that, our world is pretty much done. because we live so much online. So this is what happened. A major content creator fell afoul of Microsoft's abysmal services. This is Joshua Kaine. I've never heard of Joshua Kaine. But Microsoft deleted my account and the OneDrive after acknowledging that I'm the owner of the account and that it was compromised. So he had a case where, one of these scams or versions of malware, info stealers, gets infected, probably being mediated by Microsoft's own services, right? Their own services are used against you, and then all your stuff is compromised, and the hacker gets in there and like, hey, this is fun. And then Microsoft's like, oh, got to ban that account now. And the guy's like, hey, the account was hacked. Here's proof this is my account. Now, bro, just create a new one. That's fine. What about all my data? Don't worry about it. Just create a new one. It's like, why are you relying on Microsoft? And so he basically shows the whole letter here. And safeguarding your account is top priority. We thoroughly investigated it with our AI that didn't even look at it. And billing activity associated with your account. Based on this review, we confirmed that unauthorized access occurred. Yeah, it's called a hacker, you retards. You know, it's that thing that you guys had such a issue with a few years ago. You started basing the bonus of your C-suite executives based on the lack of getting security vulnerabilities. It's called a hack. And it seems to happen all over the place because everybody and your brother wants every bit of information about you. We cannot protect ourselves properly from the nonsense you've unleashed on us on the world. And you wonder why I sit over here with an entirely home office, an entirely offline NAS, running entirely Linux systems. I don't want anything to do with your cloud garbage. Take your cloud and reign over there somewhere. I don't care, But, this is the thing. It's like, oh, yes, we have verified that you own the billing on the account that you've been paying for this account. But since your account happens to be hacked because, our security and our services were used to hack you, it was us and Google and Cloudflare, some random CAPTCHA popped up on some WordPress site with the new shell. I wish I would have looked that one up beforehand. It would be a great joke to drop right in there if you didn't know what happened. WordPress core. Now, the WordPress core rarely gets serious hack vulnerabilities. Like 0-day WordPress core just happened, allowing a drive-by info stealer to land if you happen to land on a vulnerable WordPress site. They patched it, and the patch sites are still already vulnerable again. And so it's very fascinating here. You're just utilizing the internet, and you get a random info stealer that compromises your account, and you lose everything. That is nonsense. And that is precisely what Mr. Kaine here has indicated. And effectively, after trying to reach out and going through the hallowed caverns, the hallowed catacombs, rather, of Microsoft's AI hell, basically nothing happens. He ends up just doing, I guess, videos on, I think it was on X, and huge following, I guess, and ended up with a massive viral, I think it was a viral tweet, and this ultimately led to Microsoft getting an actual human being to look into it and go, oh yeah, this seems to be a problem, and we're going to restore your account back to you. And the problem is that it shouldn't take a video going viral or a tweet going viral. It shouldn't take all 200,000 to 200 million of your fans all, direct tweeting at Microsoft support for them to actually lift a finger. All right, this is nonsense. And I agree with a sentiment stated in, I want to say it was a Level 1 News. We need to have absolutely massive and horrendous consequences of getting something wrong like this. It's got to be like, oh, you guys messed up. I guess you got to pay that guy $1 million now. And when you do this like 700,000 times, like Microsoft does, they're paying $700,000 million out. They might start to maybe think about bringing in a few more third world Indians at 3 cents a day in order to actually, maybe have a little human interaction with their AI. Of course, this is the same company and the same accounts that they're trying to force everybody to use the account so they can lock you out. And I'm just baffled about this. I haven't really gotten a clean answer. What happens if you can only access your Windows computer when your Microsoft account and the AI system's determined for some weird hallucinogenic reason that you were wrong? Can you still log into your computer, or is that entirely encrypted device sitting there and it's like even your local files are gone and you're wondering why I'm here on Linux? Lordy. Iagipix, this is another person who had the similar situation happen, explained that getting in touch with a Microsoft represented a huge convoluted pain, saving several chats with various support agents, filling in various forms to prove ownership with questions that required some form of insane eidetic memory for accounts that are particularly old. Like, when did you last log into this account? I don't know. The same issue with those Apple, because I was getting all of these emails from Apple about this allegedly compromised Apple account. I'm just like, when did you, what device did you last log in? Dude, I haven't even had an Apple device in this office for half a decade? I think half a decade. I want to say 5 years ago, the iPad finally died. Although, typically, even that, I used the Apple account, put the things on that iPad I wanted, and I promptly removed the Apple account from the device. So, when and what? I don't know. I don't even know what version of iPad it was anymore. I think it was an iPad Air, maybe a Gen 1. I don't know. Yes, that's it. But that's kind of the thing. So this guy, he fell afoul of many users have fallen afoul of. Microsoft acknowledged the hack had taken place, but they said they couldn't or wouldn't do anything about it. Advised him to simply start a new account. Oh, you have 7,000 pictures of your children all through elementary school? Just start a new account. Now, if you have 7,000 pictures of your children growing up on your Microsoft account, please, for the love of all that is good, buy a hard drive and put the pictures offline. Make 2 copies. Buy 2 hard drives. Put a copy here and leave a copy at your parents' house or a friend's house or a relative's house or your brother's house. Dude, have a comprehensive backup plan. Oh, man. But because people don't want to do this and you just think it's so convenient and it's always going to be there until it's not. Oh, dear. Sauthor here says, received dozens of accounts similar, spoke to content creator Joshua Kaine, who really ended up giving Microsoft a strong kick up the backside about these issues. It was only after going viral that Microsoft seems to have been giving this a serious look. Yeah. Similar to JPEX, Kaine seems to have been impacted by malware being spread via Minecraft PC mods via services like CurseForge, which are often unverified by Microsoft. At that moment, quote, at that moment I realized I'd lost access to nearly 20 years of digital purchases, achievements, save files, and my OneDrive. That was probably the hardest part. OneDrive contains irreplaceable family photos of my children, old music projects from the beginning of my career, and videos from performances and studio sessions. It simply can't be replaced. Yes, if it simply cannot be replaced, stop relying on somebody else's cloud. Buy yourself some hard drives while you still have access to it. Make offline copies. Make multiple. Put one of them in your safe, put one of them in a safe of a friend or family's house, and if both of your houses have happened to blow up the same day and you lose everything, well, I guess it was just meant to be. But stop relying on Microsoft for this. And this is actually quite interesting to me. I'm going to let you read the rest of the article yourself. It is still fascinating and good. But, this is yet another time that Microsoft is really getting hammered. They're not having a good 2026 between a couple of bigger high-profile creators both getting banned and both having to go viral for Microsoft to lift a finger. Is starting to raise a lot of awareness of the serious fundamental problems, especially since we're being foisted into this computer age where it's like, you have to do everything on computer and on the internet, yet we have zero protections for the nonsense that these companies push upon us. That is a fundamental flaw in our system, and it needs to be resolved. Of course, the other one we've talked about plenty of times a few months ago is when the security researchers reached out to Microsoft on serious security bugs. They didn't credit him. They said, oh, that's just nothing. They fixed the thing anyway, and they refused to pay him for the bounty for finding the bug. So that guy's just been involved in an all-out war and just started releasing 0 days to the public. Instead of, to his credit, instead of selling them on the dark web, which he could make millions of doing that, but he's just releasing them, just saying, hey, we are protesting. And then other people got involved. Of course, Microsoft tried to get law involved in that, and then that looked really bad. So now Microsoft, what seems to be happening is Microsoft is probably the first of many companies that we're going to see this happen to. They have grown so big, they have tried to extract so much money from every single person in every possible way. They have streamlined their processes. They've streamlined their finances. And then they're like, hey, let's just unleash all of this AI on all of these different systems and let's lay off a whole lot of people. The bugs are going absolutely haywire. The AI can find the bugs quicker, yet they have no major QA teams. And at the same time now, their AI is going rogue and banishing all sorts of people with leaving zero way and zero recourse, and people are starting to revolt. First, it is the security researchers finding serious fundamental flaws inside of Microsoft systems, and instead of going through the convoluted, nasty bug bounty program, they're just releasing them. And now Microsoft, I think the last patch Tuesday was the biggest I've seen. I saw the numbers and I didn't write them down to remember them, but it was hundreds, approaching thousands of bugs because all of these security researchers are finding them and releasing them without going through the channels because they're absolutely sick of the nonsense Microsoft is doing in their in just dealing with people. They've gotten so big, they're like, we are just too big, we can do anything and everything. And I think that they need the hammer of the government to come down, break them up, seize their assets, do something. They have gotten too big and they care too little about an industry that requires them too much. It is a fundamental problem. The government needs to get involved. And I'm not a guy that wants the government involved in a lot, okay? For the most part, I kind of want them, I want to be over here doing my thing. I want them preferably leaving me alone. Secure the borders and fix the roads and deliver the mail, okay? Do that and nothing else. We don't need other programs and maybe a few safety net stuff, as long as they are very limited so that people are not taking advantage of, I'm going to run out of my food stamps soon. That's, I got to find a guy. I got to pop out another baby. No, we do not need that level of support. We need some basic support for people who are actually trying to get on with life. But Microsoft, they're doing things that are damaging themselves. They're damaging other people. And I think that it is a fundamental flaw in our entire system that really needs to be examined. So there is what I have to say. Let me know your thoughts about this. Do you agree with me that this is probably the first of the major big companies that are just experiencing customer revolt? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux instead of all this Microsoft crap.